What's up, everyone? My name is Fred Tam, and welcome back to another episode in our weekly Toronto real estate market update. This is episode 5. In this series, you'll learn about what's going on in the real estate market, from the latest news to the latest numbers, which are changing every single week. Let's get into it right after this. A lot has happened in the last week, especially with the Toronto condo market. In last week's episode, we talked about how the condo market might actually be seeing a recovery, and this is despite what others are saying about the market crashing. I think it's important to see the predictions on forecasts and benchmarks to understand what the future of the Toronto real estate market might look like. But then again, these are just predictions and speculation. This is why it is equally important to see the weekly numbers to see if they support the forecasts. So with that said, let's get right into it and start with single-family homes. Home sales saw a bit of a rise since the previous week. Sales volumes have been floating around the same level for the past 7 weeks. I interpret the last 7 weeks of Toronto's single-family home activity as more or less as a standstill. It's balanced between what we saw in earlier parts of the year, which we can interpret as economic cycles. We saw the market booming and peaked at the beginning of March. This is market activity we commonly see as we head into what everyone now calls the spring real estate market. Throughout March, we saw a sharp decline in sales volumes due to the impacts of the coronavirus. This led to sales volumes dropping by 68%. This graph section is opposite of the boom we saw and mimics a recessionary period, although now it seems like we might have hit the bottom of this cycle. The market has been at a standstill for about 7 weeks now, beginning around the same time the lockdown measures were introduced by the city. Although it's been about 7 weeks of consistent sales volume, I expect it to increase throughout the spring. The reason is because the city is now slowly lifting lockdown measures. Businesses like gardening center, hardware stores, and street-level vendors are slowly starting to reopen. These actions to stimulate the economy and to encourage a positive state of mind can also have buyers and sellers re-engaging the market. Real estate brokerages, agents, buyers, and sellers have all adjusted to the current market conditions. Even with these low levels of market activity, it's still an indication that people still need to make a move. A lot of the buying and selling process has now gone virtual. Mortgage brokers, real estate solicitors, and even home inspectors are able to provide contactless service. These sales volumes also reflect what we're seeing with home prices. Market prices are seeing a similar trend to sales volume. The average sale price in Toronto last week is exactly what it was 7 weeks ago at $1.23 million. They're also approaching the average sale price from the same period last year. If you're in the market to sell your home, then this will be an important consideration for you. Market values on average have rolled back by 1 year. What this means is that if you were looking to sell your home last year and you took action now, there is virtually no change in price difference. Since the number of buyers are equally as limited as the number of sellers right now, it might take longer to sell your home. If you're in the market as a buyer, then now might be a great time to get the best value for your money, since prices are down by about 20% from the peak of this year. If you're in the market for a condo, however, be cautious because that side of the market might not be recovering. And before we go any further, hit that subscribe button and also hit that notification bell if you're not already following us on YouTube. Doing these things will let other people know what's going on in the real estate market, and sharing this video with them will give them that extra piece of knowledge that we're here talking about every single Monday. Now let's get back to the content. Condos are showing positive growth over the last 4 weeks. This is an indication that buyer confidence is increasing. It also reinforces the fact that condos are the more popular and affordable option for Toronto housing. Now here's where it gets really interesting. The number of single-family homes and condos sold in the last 4 weeks are almost exactly the same. When there's no other external forces steering the direction of the real estate market, then single-family home sales are usually outpaced by condos by an average of 44%. Last week, condo sales exceeded single-family homes by 21%. In prior weeks, they were almost equal. I'd really like to know what you think about the Toronto real estate market and what direction it's heading towards. Let me know in the comments below and give this video a thumbs up if you're liking this video. Now let's get back to the content and talk about condo prices. Condo prices are also on the rise. There was a 4-week period when prices were actually below the average during the same time last year. We saw a slight drop last week, but interestingly enough, we're at the same average price from the beginning of the year at $646,000. Keep in mind these numbers from the past few weeks are adjusted as information gets updated in MLS. So if condo sales volumes are on the rise, then it's only a matter of time before condo prices also start rising as well. It'll be interesting to see in next week's episode if the condo market shows a repeating trend in market activity and growth. It seems like we might be seeing some growth in the number of new listings hitting the Toronto market. New listings of single-family homes were close to 200, which closely resembles activity earlier this year during the winter. Canceled listings last week were at 118. For almost every condo listed on the market last week, one was taken down. We saw over 300 new condos listed and 142 canceled. The number of canceled listings in ratio to the number of new listings are still quite high, but they're starting to level out. If the economy is starting to show signs of confidence with businesses reopening, then the question we shouldn't be asking ourselves is, will the Toronto real estate market crash? But rather, is the Toronto real estate market going to recover this year or next year? Let me know in the comments what you think. Now let's do a quick recap of today's episode. Sales volumes of single-family homes over the past 4 weeks are almost identical to condos. This is a huge contrast to what we normally see, with condos outpacing other home types by about 44%. However, in the last week, we saw that condos outpaced other home types by 20%. We also see that the condo market is thriving, with more sales taking place every single week. And at this point, it looks like the spring market is really just the winter market. And if that's the case, then our summer market might become the spring market that we're so used to seeing. With everything that I'm seeing, it's hard for me to believe that a real estate crash is imminent, especially in Toronto. Buyers and investors have a really good opportunity right now to get the best value for their money, and we don't know how long this market condition will last. So that wraps up this episode. I hope you enjoyed watching and gained value and new understanding on how the Toronto real estate market is trending. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video, because if you don't, then YouTube doesn't let you know when our new videos are out, and you could really miss out on some cool real estate educational content. Also, if you're curious to learn more about the process of buying a pre-construction condo, be sure to check out the link up top for the YouTube series. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week.